Okie doke, so we've just finished his head. And just to clarify, I did 8 rounds of single crochet, not 6, because when I finished the 6 rows it just didn't seem big enough, so we did an extra 2 rows, and that's the size that I want to keep it at. So 8 rows of single crochet around at 30 stitches. So next we want to decrease from 30 stitches to 24, and to do that we're going to single crochet 3 stitches and then single crochet 2 stitches together 6 times. So single crochet for 1, 2 and 3, and then we're going to decrease for 4, single crochet 5, 6 and 7, decrease for 8, single crochet 9, 10 and 11, decrease for 12, single crochet 13, 14 and 15, decrease for 16, single crochet 17, 18, 19, decrease for 20, single crochet 21, 22, 23 and decrease for 24. For the next round we're going to decrease from 24 stitches to 18, and to do that we're going to single crochet 2 stitches and then single crochet 2 stitches together 6 times. So single crochet 1 and 2, decrease for 3, single crochet 4 and 5, decrease for 6, single crochet 7, 8, decrease for 9, single crochet 10, 11, decrease for 12, single crochet 13, 14, decrease for 15, single crochet 16 and 17 and decrease for 18. And next we're going to put in his eyes, but we still have one more round of decreases to do, so I'm going to pull up a loop so we don't lose our place, turn him over, and now let's find the eyes that we want to use. So after playing around for a bit, I chose to put his eyes between the 4th and the 5th row of 30 of single crochet around. So from the top they are 1, 2, 3, between the 4th and the 5th row from the top down, and I've chose let me have a look, 8mm safety eyes, and they are 3 stitches apart, so 1, 2 and 3 stitches between them. So that's where I'm going to put the eyes on my doll. I'm just going to secure them into place. There we go. And now I'm just going to put some stuffing in his head. I will do another little stuff at the end, but this is just why I have the room to manoeuvre it with my fingers. So we'll just do that for now. And then I can pick up the loop. And let's do our last decrease round for his head. And we're going to decrease to 12 stitches. And to do that I'm going to single crochet in 1 stitch and then single crochet 2 stitches together 6 times. So single crochet for 1, decrease for 2, single crochet 3, decrease for 4, single crochet 5, decrease for 6, single crochet 7, decrease for 8, single crochet 9, decrease for 10, single crochet 11 and decrease for 12. So I can now fasten off with this green. So I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch and chain 1. I'm going to cut my yarn tail and I'm going to leave it quite long because I'll use this to sew this hole closed shortly. And now we can finish stuffing his head. Okie doke. And now to close this hole, I'm going to thread the yarn tail onto my embroidery needle, and then I'm going to pick up the front loop only, the front leg only of each of the remaining 12 stitches, there we go, and then I'm going to pull tight to close the hole. And all that's left for me to do is to weave in this tail so that his head doesn't unravel. Now let's make his arms. So with our green yarn again, I'm going to slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to chain 2. 1 and 2. Now into the second chain from hook, so the first chain that we made, I'm going to do 6 single crochets all into this one chain. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we now have 6 single crochets in the round and we want to increase this stitch count to 12. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets into each of these stitches. So at the end of the next round we'll have 12 single crochet. So into the first stitch we're going to do an increase for 1 and 2. Then we're going to do 3 and 4 into the second stitch, 5 and 6 into the third stitch, 7 and 8 into the fourth, 9 and 10 into the fifth, and get some yarn, and then 11 and 12 into the last. So we now have 12 single crochets and I'm going to single crochet around these 12 stitches for 8 rows. So once you've finished your 8 rows, we'll meet back here. Okay, so now we want to decrease to 9 stitches, and to do that we're going to single crochet 2 stitches and then single crochet 2 stitches together 3 times. So we're going to single crochet for 1 and 2. Now we're going to decrease for 3. Single crochet 4 and 5. Now decrease for 6. Single crochet 7 and 8 and then decrease for 9. And now we're going to single crochet around these 9 stitches for 1 row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8 and 9. And now we want to increase our stitch count back up to 12. So we're going to do a single crochet into 2 stitches, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets into the following stitch, and we're going to do that 3 times again. So single crochet for 1 and 2, and then do 2 single crochets in the next stitch for 3 and 4, single crochet 5 and 6, 2 single crochets in the next stitch for 7 and 8, and then single crochet 9 and 10, and 2 single crochets in the last stitch for 11 and 12. And we're now going to single crochet around these 12 stitches for another 8 rows. So before I do any more rows now, I'm going to pull my loop up and I'm going to stuff this arm. But we've got one more row of decreases to do to close the arm off, so I want to stuff it now before it gets too small. And once the arm is stuffed firmly, we want to do our last decrease round, and we want to decrease from 12 stitches to 6. So we're going to single crochet 2 stitches together. We're going to do that 6 times. So we're going to decrease for 1, decrease for 2, decrease for 3, decrease for 4, decrease for 5, and decrease for 6. And then we can slip stitch to join and fasten off, and we're going to leave a tail because we'll use this to sew the arm onto the hook. So with my embroidery needle, I'm going to thread the tail onto my embroidery needle, and the first thing I'm going to do is just sew these last 6 stitches together so that they're nice and neat. Okie doke, and then I can bring in the hook, and you can see I've already done one of his arms, so I've only got to attach the second one. So I'm going to place the arm where I want it to be, and you can pin it into place if you'd rather. And then I'm going to sew him into place by picking up one of the stitches from his body and one of the stitches from the top of his arm. I'm going to do that right the way across. And now I'm going to do a couple of extra stitches along the top of the arm just to make sure it's secured into place. I don't want the arm to be sticking up like this, so I'm going to do a couple of stitches along the top of the arm. Can you see the difference? So I come out a stitch closest to the side of the arm, and I pick up a very end stitch of his arm. Hi lovely people, it is Christine here from the future. So I am just editing my hook part 3, I think this is, and I realised that the narration of this part is so poorly done, you had no chance of recreating what I'd done here. So I'm just going to try and do a voiceover and explain what I did. So using a darker colour yarn, a dark green, I basically want to contour where his muscles would be. So at the moment I am marking out his pectoral muscles, and I'm doing a back stitch in order to do that. So there's no precise science to how many stitches are between each peck, etc. You just want to have a look, hold the yarn in the place to see if it looks good, and then go for it and just sew it into place. So that's what I'm doing here, but on the video narration it sounds like I am trying to explain neuroscience and I still didn't get it. So just giving him some nice pectoral muscles first, and then we'll be going on to do his stomach next. And now we're on to his tummy muscles, so we're going to give him a 6-pack, even though the Hook probably has more like a 12-pack. And if you just try to copy what I'm doing, because I know I'm not explaining it very well. But I'm basically doing a line right the way down the centre for the centre of his stomach. And then I'm doing a line either side of that line. And then at the very edge of the sidelines, I'm doing a little kick up, if you like, just to make it look like his muscles. Some things are just better learned by watching rather than hearing what I have to say. Hopefully you can see what's going on, and I'm going to do this one more time so that he has a nice total of 6 stomach muscles.